Okay, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. We actually have the bounce house and water slide, the events company setting up all the stuff that we're having for our 4th of July party tomorrow. And they had an issue, of course, during my live stream where they needed some assistance. So that's all taken care of. It was actually a false alarm, but nonetheless, here I am. I've got a few minutes before my next appointment, and I'm going to just update you guys, make sure that everybody understands where we're at in this season right now. So once again, we have, depending upon where you're at in the wealth transfer, for those who have been stewarding the prophetic words pertaining to crypto, or those who understand crypto anyway. Guys, the reality is that what many people believe to be the cycles that have been present in the crypto space every 4 years, etc. The consistency is about to completely shift. Now, I believe we've already seen that. Some people may not understand that. Some people may believe that it's just over for this 4-year cycle. And unfortunately, I don't believe that to be the case. I believe that the cycles that we used to follow once upon a time are not necessarily going to be the same. And obviously, yes, that has to do with institutional investors and different things who have, gotten into crypto as it's evolved. And the good news is I believe we're still early, very much so. That being said, I want to remind you guys, that picking up where I was leaving off on the last video before I got interrupted, God showed me in 2024 crypto was going to take off, and I leveraged in order to maximize my personal vested interest in that opportunity of what I saw in my dream. Many people would consider that just ludicrous, and I understand that. And I would never recommend anybody to simply do anything that I'm doing, because it's my risk, it's my money, and I'm not telling you to do anything with your money that I'm doing with mine. And same thing goes, even those who were in the prophetic mindset from last year when we knew it was going to take off. And it's crazy. Like, I had people who just really didn't understand. They maybe liked XRP once upon a time, and then it took off, and then everybody's like, XRP, I told you to get in XRP, and blah, blah, blah. And then, unfortunately, those who just thought XRP, probably at the time they were telling all their friends to get in. That was about the time when God began to tell me that sell everything, it's going to crash. Sure enough, we saw that happen. But nonetheless, in this journey, we've learned a couple of things. Number one, following the prophetic word is incredible. I have achieved results in and following the prophetic word of the Lord that I've never, ever been able to achieve on my best day on any of the crypto opportunities, investment opportunities, Forex opportunities, stocks opportunities. I've never been able to achieve the results that I've been able to achieve following the prophetic word of the Lord. And that being said, it's super important to understand where you stand on the matter, whether you believe in following the prophetic with your investments or not. That's entirely up to you. I know where I stand on the matter, but I also know where I stand on the other side of the coin, where you can also use tools. And we've talked about this a lot. And it's the first time that I've actually found a tool. It's the first time I've been able to find a tool. I have found people, traders and market analysts who were able to predict fairly accurately what the next moves were as we got closer to the day of fulfillment, right? Because the market had already begun to move and began to show some signs. So in the process of stewarding the long-term prophetic word, we have found these tools to be incredibly useful. And I would probably also say historically on the data that you could probably also agree that they've also been beneficial in stewarding or helping one to steward when to take some profits. We have learned, even stewarding the prophetic words, that you can never lose when you take profits. I think many people have unfortunately learned that the hard way, especially the people who are doing this flippantly. That's why I actually have my private community, because I've seen people, I've watched people and their behaviors, and they think that just getting a price point is the end all be all. And then they end up, because they have no discipleship, no, strategies being shared, not from a professional financial advisor standpoint, but just from, the school of hard knocks, right? And also learning from others in the spaces that we're stewarding and investing in, where even the professional traders, they tell you, be sure to take profits, guys. Be sure to take profits. And so, so that being said, I'm going to show you once again where we're at. I just am so excited because obviously you've got the Bitcoin, right, showing a couple now buying opportunities. And listen, if you go back historically and see when a market was, somewhat sideways, okay, or fluctuating within a range, and it was printing multiple, buying opportunities, it basically preceded a season where you ended up seeing a rise. Now, remember, these indicators are not foolproof, okay? They've got 85% accuracy. Now, you can set them on the various accuracy settings where you can have the most signals being sent to you on when to buy with moderate accuracy, more signals on good accuracy, and then normal amount of signals on the highest accuracy. And of course, depending upon your risk level, you want more opportunities, right? Look at that. It just popped up so many more buying opportunities on the least accurate, but still moderately accurate. The highest accuracy, you'll see it shrunk the amount of times. And so naturally, you could see here when it began to crash, it posed some buying opportunities, right? And then, of course, some upward movement afterwards. That being said, we've printed a few buying opportunities. Okay. And Bitcoin printed the opportunity to buy. And of course, it has obviously risen and begun to rise since. Okay. That being said, these things normally are projecting what is, referred to as the bottom. Okay. If you want to see your candles again, just bring them up through the settings, remove the market cycle highs and lows so you can see exactly where you're at. But, as you can see, we appear to have, at least in the short term, found our bottom. And this is basically telling you it's a good entry. Even back here, it was a good entry. And so it's important to understand that sometimes the entries, once again, with about an 85% accuracy rate, that's why it's important to know you don't invest all of your money on a dot. Okay. Please understand that. It's important to know that. You have to follow strategies when you're investing. And a lot of people will oftentimes, and look at here. Here's an example. Okay. It said to buy here. Okay. And then it said to sell here. That was a 10% gain. And then it gave another signal to sell here. That was a 12% gain if you would have sold more. And there's more buying opportunities that came even after that. So there's a potential it could still rise. And that's where you have to try to determine, but it also knew basically that it was going to go down. And sure enough, it did. Okay. And that's what we see here. And, it actually calculated it was potentially going to rise here, but it didn't. That's where you have the 85% accuracy. And this is just on good accuracy. We can obviously go to highest accuracy and you're going to have different numbers. See that? Way different. So that's, again, the accuracy level. Okay. And if you notice, and I want you to notice this is why I think this stands out, guys. Pay attention. This is why I think this stands out. Look at all of the buy signals all the way from the February 5th crash. You've got no sell signals, none, which means, number one, it's been accurate because it hasn't really gone down. If we were to basically look at this is more like a consolidation than anything with minor fluctuations, and so yes, it's fluctuated, but my emphasis here is that there's no sell signals. Okay. Except when we were here, where obviously it dropped considerably. And remember, we've talked about this. These indicators do not repaint. I just learned about that term, that repainting means some of these indicators will actually manipulate the old dots to make it look like they predicted more accurately than they did. These indicators have a coding built inside of them to enforce that there is no repainting that is done. Okay, the only thing that could ever alter what it had printed is if TradingView has any correction on the data on their platform. That's it. And so there is literally no repainting that is done with these indicators. But I love where we're at right now. Now, we are in what I refer to as the crypto gold rush, guys. Whether you're following the prophetic words or whether you're following technical analysis or whether you're doing a little bit of both, like myself. And so this is the Pro Trade Manager down here, guys, where it prints the dots. That's the #1 popular favorite. I went back this morning and looked at how many of these have sold compared to the other ones, and it's actually considerably higher with the Pro Trade Manager. The second one is my runner-up favorite, which is the Market Cycle Highs and Lows. Why I love this is because I found, watch this. Once again, these indicators are aligning with prophecy. There's a coin that I'm following that I actually gave I had a prophetic dream on Saturday. It's come up 40%, actually more than that now, more than 40%, because God showed me it was going to come up quite a bit. And this indicator is now showing that it is in the max fear or was, sorry, range. And there's also another coin that I've been following privately that is in the max fear. That's actually the lowest level. And so why that's important is because when you, and I'm not going to pull it up, but when you see a coin in max fear, that's basically saying that it's almost like a euphoric fear that's manifesting. And it's an incredible opportunity because that's what they say: buy the fear and sell the greed, right? Last indicator that's on sale. These are all on sale. I'm mentioning these. It's the 4th of July special, $100 off each indicator, is the volume bubbles, where you can see the whales selling or buying, okay? That's what we're seeing here. Look at this buy, and of course, the upward momentum. Look at these sells, and of course, the downward momentum. You can basically see potentially where the market is headed once they begin to notify you there's big whale movement occurring. Three important indicators, guys. Those are all on sale, $100 off. The last one is the EMA distance analyzer right here. That's not on sale because it's actually the least expensive, but I love it because it shows you how far away from the moving average you are, which is an incredible indicator of where you are in the cycle. 4 top indicators. They're all available in the description section below. My private community, where I share my prophetic insights, is in the description section below as well, guys. I'm out. I got to take my 12 o'clock appointment, and I bless you guys. Thank you for being on. Peace out. Happy 4th of July to everybody out there, guys. It's going to be a blast. Blessings.